share with you in such a fantastic day, and for all the hard work and achievement that all of you have undertaken in order to be here. I'm an associate tutor here in a college which I consider to be the best theological college in the country. That was just my cheap attempt to curry favour before I now denounce you all as a radical liberation theologian. Indeed, there are lots of reasons why you find yourself sat here, all of you. I once sat next to a man a number of years ago when I first was donning this as a doctoral candidate at Birmingham University, and we were sort of sat together. I won't mention his name. And we were saying to each other, so why are we here? How we ended up doing this? And so he asked me first, and I gave my story. And I turned to him and I said, why are you here? And he said, well, the truth is, he said, like, my wife got a doctorate. And I just could not live with the fact that she had a better qualification than me. So I need to go and do a doctorate as well. Now, I'm looking at the menu. And I'm just trying to sort of see who are the ones who are here because they've got a wife that's smarter than them. Okay, we'll let them. Indeed, there are lots of reasons to be here. For some, it's a way of proving something to yourself. It's a way of saying, well, I never thought I could do this, but now I've challenged myself, and here I am. I'm fantastic. For others, maybe it's a sense of there's been a deep sense of inadequacy at some point in one's past, and this is part of the formation of trying to grow into yourself and to feel more empowered and to be more of somebody. And again, if that's a reason, then that's a good enough reason as well, and great thing to do. But let me suggest something else. That the reason why you're here and the learning that you have accrued is in order that you can make a difference. It's in order that you can impact and affect all the people you meet and deploy the learning that you've accrued in order that all of us can be better human beings in this world. That sounds really grandiose, and you may say, aren't they really? Seriously? So here's the thing. One of my favourite quotes of all comes from Desmond Tutu, who says, if you think you're too small to make a difference, then you've never shared a room with a mosquito. Now here's the thing, I have shared a room with a mosquito. The first time I went to Jamaica was in 1982. I was 18 years old, just finished my A-levels, and my mother said, well, it's good for you to go to Jamaica before your grandmother, my mother, has died. She's a remarkable woman, and she's never met you and she wants to meet you, so off I went to Jamaica. And I got the plane, and then my uncle met me, and we drove in 2 hours deep into the country. This is rural Jamaica, 1982. So I go to her house, and she welcomed me, gives me a big hug, sent me to the room where I'm staying. Now here's the thing, I've prepared for all kinds of things. I heard stories about growing up. But one thing I'm not accounted for with these things called mosquitoes. So she sprayed the room and says, well, I sprayed the room and there should be no mosquitoes there. But as I was going to bed and closing the door, one pesky little beggar sneaked in. So I'm sitting there in bed and this mosquito, and of course I can barely see it, but I know it's there. So I'm trying to sleep, and you get that little buzzing in your ears, isn't it? So anyway, so I thought, okay, it's fine. This is an unequal fight, because here I am. I've always been on the slightly paltry side, let's just put it that way. I could stand to do a meal or two. But here's me, and this little insect I can barely see. I figured, okay, now this insect may think he's got a measure of me, but he's forgetting one thing. I'm from York, okay? Now, I'm a Bradford. And you don't mess with Bradford, mate. So I'm thinking, okay, let's bring it on, Mr. Mosquito. Bring it on, anytime. So there we are, all night. I doze off, he comes close, he buzzes, I wake up, I flail my fist, he goes off again. All night. So come the morning now, my grandma says, and I'm like looking over. She says, oh, I see. It's a mosquito, isn't it? I said, well, yeah, Granny. So what do I do? She says, well, you know, if it's only one mosquito, just let it bite. It'll bite you, if your mind is failed, it'll go, it'll leave you alone. But I'm like, Granny doesn't understand. I'm a Yorkshireman. I can't let this pesky little thing just come and bite me with impunity. So I'm thinking, no, Granny, you're wrong. You will not understand me. She's thinking, it was a stranger, isn't it? And I'm saying, no, Granny, I'm telling you. I will not allow this mosquito to bite me. So next night, I don myself from top to bottom in every clothes I have in order to have no exposed flesh. Of course, the problem with it, of course, that is summer in Jamaica, it's like 40 degrees in the shade. So I'm sweating like a pig, so I'm hiding under the sheets in order to repel the mosquito. Sweating like a pig. And the mosquito, of course, is just on the wall, sitting there, just thinking, like, we've got all night here, it's fine. So I pull off the sheet, eventually sweating like that, and the mosquito descends and I fight him again. All night I'm like Jacob fighting this angel. Second day, wake up, my grandma comes in, and I look worse than the night before, worse than the day before. So I look wretched, exactly. Just let the mosquito bite. I think, no, Grandma, you don't understand, I cannot allow this to happen. This goes on for another 2 days. So eventually, when I literally can barely stand up for exhaustion, I figured, enough of my body. So on the 4th day, I literally lie naked on my bed, and I said to the mosquito, come, do your worst, I don't care. I've had enough life, I just can't take it anymore. And as you know, no one suffers like that. Seriously, okay? Women go through the pain and agony of childbirth, that's nothing to man flu. You know what I'm saying? You know, so clearly now I'm at the death's door, just giving up on life. I say, Lord, just take it now. Just let this mosquito do his worst. I can't take it anymore. So the mosquito wins. Now, of course, there are dangers with extended metaphors far too far. We are literally not mosquitoes, and mosquitoes do kill people. The millions die from malaria, so this is not to be taken as a literal story. But there is something about the sheer pestilence of that mosquito that never allowed me to sit comfortably in my bed. And for me, that is a perfect metaphor for ministry, because what we should be doing with our learning is that we may not be able to change the world, and we may not be able to bring down powers and dominions, but what we can do through our presence is to allow that evil never has an easy night's sleep. That what every one of us can do is that by our presence, by our ministry, by the learning that we go through, is that we can make a difference. We can make a difference to the people we meet. And certainly in the face of injustice, we may not be able to defeat it. But by our sheer persistence of presence, that it will know that we are here and we are protesting against all that we believe is not of God. In our Bible passage, a very controversial passage at one point, that those of you who know your church history, Martin Luther found this a really difficult passage because in it seems to glorify works and not faith. There's no evidence that those who are on the left, those who are the goats, those who are the unrighteous, there's no evidence that they don't believe. There's no evidence that they have not signed up to the right doctrinal creedal positions. Their sin is that they were ineffectual in the face of need and injustice. That in the face of those who needed compassion and help, they did nothing. Their presence was almost virtually invisible. They may have believed the right thing, but they were not doing anything to try and make a difference. Those on the right, there's no evidence that they believed in better. But crucially, what they do is that they do the little that they can. That those who attended to those who were naked didn't solve nakedness or didn't solve poverty overnight, but they made a difference to that one individual. Those who visited the one in prison did not stop systemic injustice that often leads disproportionately to certain communities being in prison. But they made a difference to that one person they visited. seek to be the change that we want to see in the world. Seek to be the change that you want to see in the world. So we may not be able to change the world, but it's always easier to point our finger at what we think others should do without realizing the responsibility that we have to make a difference. In our second reading, we have Martin Luther King Jr., I still believe the greatest social prophet of the 20th century. And the gift of his ministry was to move from a relatively comfortable position as someone who was a favourite child of a long lineage of Baptist preachers, with a doctorate from Boston University. His life was set out to be one of relative comfort and one of relative esteem amongst the community that had shaped him. But he decided that there was something more that he could do, which was to be a social prophet, to speak truth to power. He did not end systemic racism in America. But like that pesky mosquito, just being there forces others to acknowledge our presence and to acknowledge what we stand for and acknowledge the values that says that all of us matter, and says that not only do all of us matter, but those who are the least and the lost and the marginalized matter the most. So a call for all of us is to make a difference. In your everyday interactions, you can make a difference. And the power of your learning, the power of what you have gone through, the fact that you have mastered subjects at various levels and written essays and assignments that you probably never thought you could, but you have done it, and that's why you're here today, is great. But if that's all it is, if that's all it remains an achievement with a certificate that you put on the wall, then perhaps you've missed an opportunity. Now here's the thing, I can't tell you what your sense of making a difference should be like. That would be far too arrogant. I mean, I'm arrogant enough already, but I'm not sufficiently so to tell you what you should do. But there's a lot that we can do. We live in a country with the 5th biggest economy in the world, and yet we have many of our church communities are providing food for those who are suffering from food poverty. It's great that we have a level of compassion in our country that sees us able to, through food banks, offer that support. But there was a much deeper question. Why is it that the 5th biggest economy in the world needs food banks at all? That's a hard question to answer. Maybe we can't solve that, but certainly what we can do is to be in solidarity with those who are in need. And to be in solidarity with those, irrespective of whether we think they deserve it or not. We have long had, I would say, this terrible tradition that comes out of the time of Protestantism, of thinking about the deserving and undeserving poor. And the church has been very good at being alongside those who we think are trying, that those who are not trying hard enough, or a little too feckless. It's very interesting that the language we use to describe people, very much in vogue at the moment in terms of a presenter and match of the day. Matters. How we talk about people matters. And it's often said that the people you can afford to offend are the ones that don't matter. So it's interesting how we have the language for chance, for example, in terms of poor, white, working class people. That's the equivalent of the N-word for someone like me. And we use it with impunity, not realizing that these are still God's creatures. We are called to stand alongside those who do not have a voice, and to make a difference. The great thing about that mosquito all those years ago is that what I remember is not whether he bit me or not, which I'm sure he did. It's the fact that I just couldn't sleep, just knowing he was there. It's my job, it's my hope that every one of you here today is enabled and empowered to live a life that injustice does not sleep because it knows that you are there. That hatred of evil doesn't rest easy because it knows that you are there. And that love and compassion and hope and grace will flourish because it knows you are there. I'm proud of every one of you and all the achievements you've made. And I believe that every one of you can go on and do great things. May not change the world, but like that mosquito, you can be a presence that says that you made a difference. And people's lives will touch.